overall in the 3 areas. Now we then say for pass half of the total number of indicators. And I will explain to people what I mean by pass or not pass. So I just want to be clear, will not fail 13. Of the 22 way they measure the one that we then get data for, we as a country, we will pass on the 12 day we will not meet the benchmark we then set. 1 day we did not get data for.
So, Mr. Minister, is it that the U.S. government normally communicate to UNA when they add the new indicator there?
They know they communicate to. Keep in mind the scorecard not for salon alone. In fact, I make I say if I will understand how did they measure, how did they assess you now the scorecard. The scorecard now for really benchmark your performance against other countries and your income category. So we get low income. You know the idea of MCC. Okay, let's start from there. The idea of MCC now the U.S. government say we want for partner with country them for direct how they invest with your money. Now we they decide. But for do that they want for do this one not to by the goodness of we hearts. We no one just say, oh, we feel sorry, people they die now, we go do them. They want for measure how the country they perform on key things. This country they might be poor, but then they meet certain benchmark. I make an objective analysis. And I made them get categories, then get plenty indicators, but then get category important to them. The country for the fight corruption. 7 straight years we don't pass control of corruption. We'll be on the field before President Bill can important. 7 straight years. An average score of about 7. So how do they measure we on that? They measure with performance versus with peers. Things like personal freedom, things like freedom of information when all they pass together. This year I'll come up from 91, I don't go 95. Why? Then they measure say, we consider that country in income category. And then they look at third party data. MCC 7 they generate data, they look at World Bank data, other data there. So we camp and pass and how they do. So first you meet that 3 things I don't talk about inside the MCC scorecard. Then you the eligible for letting consider you for compact. Not mean say you get the compact too. Now you need for now get a solid proposal. Now the board need for now assess certain things. Like for example, we after the last election, I mean get there include the be the part of the thing and say okay, let's see how now you do with the tripartite. So then they consider additional things. So it's important to get this conversation about the scorecard because always important for let we measure with success, let we measure with benchmark and compare how they perform on the area of other countries. But Famble for no say the MCC compact intact, the investments intact, salon in performance on all of the area they may not go beyond.
So we can look at the scorecard in detail, but our government, first of all, received this one and waiting on doing action since the scorecard came out.
We put out a statement, we're very clear. We welcome. First, we welcome the fact, say, obviously, we make clear to Famble and say the compact they on and we they go on. Secondly, we make clear to the people of this country, say, we welcome the new indicators the way the U.S. government don't put. Now an opportunity for we follow we measure. Look, keep in mind, Musa, in the past, on their other area there, right? Who will know see the scorecard there, we put some investments in their area, then we see, say, hey, we compare we and other countries that we need to do as well. So, for example, business startup, access to international markets. These are all opportunity for we as a country and as a people, including we brought in a parliament, for us say, okay, if we not do so well on this one, we then compare with other people them. Now, let we invest in that area there, let we strengthen, let we see. So we as a government, we're not defensive. We welcome the scorecard, we welcome the areas that we don't add, we look at an opportunity for let we do the work we're supposed to do on inflation, for example. The data we they use clearly, now old data. We know say they don't today, we know they feel the inflation. Because we don't come up from 55% of inflation, so now we're at 4.5%. Not to you can go check the then they actually put the data with inputs. Then they put the dates.
Now we see a data inputs.
I just know almost not up to date data. Not to this one we'll get today, meant to in the use. The data we then they use for the scorecard now, that data will come out either 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and in the use for put the scorecard each year. That's how these things work.
And you think say if the rank salon the inflation is okay?
No, I not they think and know.
The inflation is okay.
Facts say inflation as Salon don't move from 55% to be run away, one of the highest, to now 4.5. That the year-on-year average na Salon na 7.7%, and we are one of the best performing countries where camp right now on the question of inflation. We camp at the economy stability, for example, of the currency. We don't maintain stability. We camp and growth. We don't move from the economy be the recede. So now the economy, yes, now modest growth, but we continue for growth, and we grow at the similar rate to the region and better than some countries in the income category.
Specifics. Now the scorecard. Continue for stay with me inside the program, Minister for Information and Civic Education, Chernobyl. We come to Honorable Abdul Kargbo. Honorable, the MCC scorecard FY 2026 day out. Waiting the opposition make up of them.
Firstly, the opposition are part of the assessment of MCC. And me being face the MCC delegation, says if we come America come. They interview me, for considerable period of time. And one thing I want to make very clear now that MCC not for political party or not for government, not for specific government, not for the country as a whole. In 2014, Salon win the threshold. Being qualified for the threshold. From 2014, then begin implement the threshold in 2016 February. 2016, in fact, initially, now been 4 years implementation period and put. 2016, because of the elections, they add other 1 year. So then close them on the 30th March 2021. So it shows say even though now the previous government be win the threshold, being qualified for the threshold, but this government benefits from them. So even if government change, MCC still they continue with the support now the country for the country, then they continue. Now that make this current government benefit from the threshold where the previous government been qualified for in 2014, where then begin implement in 2016. So similarly, if this government qualify for the compact, even if there is a change of government, MCC still they continue. So now that make we as opposition not they politicize the MCC. Because if other governments benefit from waiting we qualify for in 2014, then we say get the tendency, if we cannot governance for qualify from waiting this government as well London. But I'll make some clarifications on the MCC. Firstly, the MCC, the assessment they in line with their own fiscal year. The fiscal year of the United States they begin on the 1st of October. They done on the 30th of September the other year. And all of them grants there, then they go with an parliament, na Congress for approval. So now that make them they ensure say it within the fiscal year. How MCC they assess? Then they update MCC about the scores of different countries. Like for example, this current one we don't come up now for 2026 fiscal year come up. And then they update MCC about this one inside 2025. But waiting and they update MCC for, then they update them, but waiting now been the score for 2024. So as we they talk the score where then the grade in 2026, now waiting been done up in 2024. And la just go na the website of MCC and see how they analyze. Yes, for sure. For see how they analyze the year 2019. Let's just read one sentence there. He said for the year 2019 scores, come to 2018 update of the worldwide governance indicator data set and largely reflect performances in the calendar year 2017. So 2019 reflects performance in 2017. So now that make, when this current government take praises of the 71% score in the fight against corruption in 2019, no. That assessment in 2019 was done by data provided for what happened in 2017. You get me, sir? So 2017 performances, now then they pull for 2019. Just like where they don't release the 2026 performance for what happened in 20. Now let we go into some of, let's just do some of the verifications there based on what the minister say. Firstly, now to say MCC don't replace some of the indicators then. And what make MCC they replace them? MCC they look at waiting the trend globally. Previously, there been the field say now lack of immunization now in the account for early death. You understand? But now they say no, not a lack of immunization. No. Now we get chronic diseases then. You understand? Eh? Where they make people not able survive, where they account for people then die one. So they say, well, Lord pull immunization rate, Lord replace them with chronic disease. How country then they face chronic disease? Waiting at the survival rates where people are exposed to chronic diseases. You understand? So they assess government on 22 indicators. Like for example, let's go back to the health indicators the way they use. In 2025, they use 6 indicators under investing in the people. And under investing in people, they been get about 4 health indicators. About 3 health indicators. One, na health expenditure, where they still maintain. Second, na child health, where they still maintain. And third, na immunization rate, where they replace with chronic disease. Yeah? And then 3 health indicators then they will be doing at 2025. We pass 2. In 2025, we fail 1. When are the child health? You understand? In this 2026, we fail 2 and we pass 1. Waiting at the one where we pass, now the health expenditure, we pass under the health indicator. Then we fail the chronic disease, then we fail also the child health. Now, waiting at the essence of this, it just feel like when you go sit in an exam, you go sit biology. Yeah? Biology, sometimes, waiting you go sit this year, na the study of human parts, na income. You understand? Then you pass them. Then the next biology exam, then go say, na the study of the heart. You understand? So it's not static, but still it is under the health indicators. So this na clear evidence. I know. I just want go over within the minister and make few corrections.
Okay, because we just want
to go for a break.
When we come, we'll continue the program. Let you continue for give we highlights of some of the things that we you talk. In name Abdul Kargbo, the leader of the main opposition APC party na parliament. We take break when we can continue the program. Good morning, Salon. Salon, they continue still inside the studios. We get Abdul Kargbo, leader of the main opposition APC party in parliament. Before we go for that break, you may highlight some of the issues them within the health sector. You will continue from that point, sir.
Yes, like I'm in the SAGs now. Yeah. And MCC now the air back assessments now then they use. Now that make us say, the mere fact that the current anti-corruption pull a press release on the 2019 indicator without acknowledging say this na data where my predecessor work on, it was not too fair. Because me believe say MCC not a thing where we they politicize. Now for the country.
As you say, honorable, not the politicize. Why the ACC for go back and give credit to his predecessor where this na the country then they assess not individual past and present.
Even at the country, like for example, me personally give credit to the minister we see also, because in the grading where they do access to information, how people are able to be aware of government activity increase. So personally, I give credit. You understand? So always, we learn for give credit. It not being said because in a SLPP, in a APC, I know we give credit. Everybody knows say the dynamics within the information system don't improve. You understand? And another make, they say, even though you, ACC, you can't take up office, they pull the 2019 indicator. You know, say, because MCC is stated on their website, I just don't read them, say, they say now 2017 data, now they use. So you for state and say, this data there, what we publish you, now as a result of waiting the country get 2017, you understand? So we always for acknowledge people we don't sacrifice and people we don't work for this country. But notwithstanding, also, it don't mean say, if you pass an indicator, now MCC you do well. It don't mean so. What do it mean? MCC they assess all the countries there. When they don't assess all the countries, then they calculate the mean, that the average. You understand? How much the lowest country gets, how much the highest country gets, they make sure say they get the average. Sometimes then the average they can't do because a lot of countries then they score low. Either stop, suspend them funding, or they terminate them funding. Go to Mali, Madagascar, Yemen, Honduras, they all low experience than they. So where country get MCC, it not mean say the country just for relax, so no more say we will not win MCC, not do anything we want. So the opposition as a pressure group, they monitor government for ensure say government keep for perform well.
According to the minister, Salon of failed certain indicators, just they not rank them in some of the indicators there. You agree with that?
No, Salon failed 12 indicator. The only one indicator where they not get information on, they not get data on, now that workforce development. That workforce development they able assess. The workforce development they assess how many training institutions they don't create for put on citizens, how many people can get formal education, how many people, how they capacitate the workforce. You understand? Now only than they not get. But let I tell you, even in the previous assessment of MCC, it asked for law we pass all in 9. A very difficult for law pass. We pass 9. We don't pass 9 in the previous one. You understand? So if we pass 9 in this, government for be concerned. Government for be worried. Government for begin find ways in how then they improve the areas that we not pass.
Okay. Honorable, continue for stay with me inside the program. My name now Honorable Abdul Kargbo, in a leader of the opposition parliament. Well, we go to the U.S. Embassy. We say inside 2024, MCC board been signed $480 million compact with Salon for improvement on electricity in the country. This, according to the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC country director at the U.S. Embassy, Steve Gruder. Now, 2027, then they expect Salon for enter into force the full implementation of the MCC compact. A talk this way, talk about the FY 2026 MCC scorecard and the impact way if this could get on the progress of the MCC compact implementation. Steve Gruder talk more to me inside this interview.
So the compact is proceeding with implementation after the conclusion of the foreign assistance review by the United States government. We were approved to resume implementation without modification of the compact, and we did that. We started doing that end of July. Now that my family and I are back in country, we're pulling back up to full speed ahead, I should say.
People were afraid that with the current Trump's policy, that might affect the compact. Did that have any impact on the compact implementation here in Sierra Leone?
So the administration reviewed all of MCC's programming, including the Sierra Leone compact, very closely, and we were approved to resume implementation without modification.
The Office of the Vice President is in charge of the compact's development unit is under the Office of the Vice President, and he has been very vocal on the issue of the MCC. When we last spoke with him, he said there has been some amount of money already in for the compact. Can you confirm that the country has started receiving funding from the MCC?
That's right. In fact, MCC has been funding compact development for over 3 years now, and that's over $10 million in preparation funding. And then now that we've signed the compact but not entered into force, About 10% of the compact budget is available for mobilization, design work, preparation for the actual implementation, and some of that has been dispersed.
For many Sierra Leoneans, the compact implementation has been delayed. What can you say about that?
We're not on the original schedule, and plans change. But I'm glad to say that now we are back on track to resume implementation. We will be updating the timeline. It won't be the same as the initial timeline, but these are large national infrastructure strategies, and they take time to organize. But I think now there is a strong agreement.
The compact was signed in 2024, and the compact implementation is within 5 years. 2025, we are going to 2026 now. We've just completed 1 year and going to the second year of the compact signing, and the time is almost going.
Right. So there's a clarification necessary there. There's a difference between that famous 5-year clock and the signing of the compact. So that 5-year clock actually begins when the compact enters into force, and that's a separate legal moment after signing. So the way it works is you sign the compact, you organize the Millennium Challenge Account Sierra Leone team that will manage the compact under the government's supervision, and then that team has to procure the consultants, the design work. The design work has to be completed. There's many steps of preparation before you enter into force. It's very important because that entry into force moment starts that 5-year clock. And once that 5-year clock starts, it doesn't stop. So with large infrastructure programs, for example, it's important to take time and do this preparation right so that you can actually complete it during the 5 years. It's not to say that work hasn't started and we're waiting until entry into force. No. Work is full speed ahead, but these large infrastructure programs require a tremendous amount of preparation in order for the 5-year clock to finish the program.
When the country is expected to enter into force in the implementation of the MCC Compact?
The MCA Sierra Leone hasn't actually been stood up yet. There's not actually an executive team in place to build out that work plan. I think in our situation, we're probably looking at mid-2027 for entry into force.
For entry into force, and the 5-year clause starts?
Exactly.
Now, let's look at the MCC 2026 indicators that were published. We've seen Sierra Leone pass 9 out of the 22 indicators for the MCC. What's your assessment or what's your take on these particular publication on the FY26?
Yeah, so MCC this year actually revised its scorecard, right? So they changed out some old indicators, they added some new indicators, they even changed some data that's used for existing indicators. You would know that previously there were 20 indicators, now there's 22. So it's actually the technical piece of the scorecard has changed, and that is what resulted in the failing score for Sierra Leone, not a change in government policy or anything. These are technical changes in the way that we're actually measuring these indicators. And so this is a fresh data set that our stakeholders are reviewing, that we're learning to track as well. Of course, it's disappointing to see red on the scorecard that doesn't need to be there.
Okay.
But these are technical changes. These are not a result of Sierra Leone government.
What are some of the indicators that are added and those that are minus?
They added 4 indicators. So they added business startup, market competitiveness, property and land rights, and international markets. And they dropped 2 indicators, fiscal policy and land rights and access. We also revised a health indicator and an education indicator. So we created a new chronic disease indicator that replaced the old immunization rates indicator. And we created a new workforce development indicator that replaced the education expenditures indicator.
Why the changes?
Yeah, so the changes were made to reflect the priorities of our new administration, while also remaining aligned with our statutory requirements.
Now we've seen this is the first time that Sierra Leone fails to this kind of level in the indicators or the scorecard in recent years. How involved was government in the implementation or in selecting these indicators?
Yeah, this is the first time I think Sierra Leone has had a failing scorecard since 2019. So it's an unusual thing for Sierra Leone to be seeing a failing scorecard. But these are decisions that were made in Washington, D.C. So unfortunately, country partners do not have a say in how these indicators are selected or the methodology that's used. So the government of Sierra Leone was not involved in the reorganization of the MCC scorecard.
We are aware of the changes.
They were made aware of the changes briefly before the scorecard was released, but these are very much internal U.S. government decisions.
Does this current scorecard have any impact on the implementation of the MCC compact?
So compact implementation is moving forward, and we're mobilizing the compact full speed ahead. As I stated, these are technical changes that we don't anticipate will slow down implementation this year. Now, we always encourage the government to do all that it can to improve its performance on various indicators, because these are important for strengthening economic growth in Sierra Leone and improving U.S. government relations generally. But at this time, we don't anticipate a slowdown in implementation as a result of this scorecard.
And if this continues, what will happen to the compact developments?
I would leave that comment for our board members, our congressional stakeholders, the head of our U.S. mission here in Sierra Leone, because it's difficult for me to say the outcome that they would choose.
I am emphasizing it because people are worried that this kind of results or this kind of scorecard might impact Sierra Leone's compact.
Right. No, and I understand. This is the first time that there's been a failing scorecard in a long time. So at this point, I'm not concerned about it. I don't anticipate that this scorecard will impact our implementation over the coming year. Speaking beyond that, it's difficult for me to project into the future, but I also have a lot of confidence that the government of Sierra Leone has taken these indicators very seriously in the past, and that they can understand them and make changes that can improve the performance very quickly.
Have you engaged with them since the scorecard came out?
We provided them with a full readout before the scorecard came out, and we haven't followed up in great detail, but we're happy to work with them, and we expect that they'll be very responsive.
The program Good Morning Salon Day continue. Just listen to the country director for the MCC na the US Embassy na Salon, Steve Gruder. They talk to me in that interview. They talk about the progress of the $480 million compact and also the MCC Scorecard 2026. We still get the Minister for Information and Civic Education. Now the program and also leader of the opposition at Parliament, Honorable Abdul Kargbo, with a look at the MCC Scorecard 2026. We come to Chernoba, Minister for Information and Civic Education. You just listened to the country director for MCC in the area of whether these results get any impact on the compact development. We, according to Ram, no good determine and hope say this kind of result they continue. But from what Honorable Abdul Kargbo been mentioned earlier, some countries them maybe don't win compact, then don't suspend them or then withdraw some of the compacts them. Looking at Salon situation now, this is not the first time Salon get this scorecard since 2019. Government worried at all?
No, I think
why?
It's important for the family understand the context properly, and I want to assure my brother Abdul Kargbo say the example the way it states. So if you don't get the compact, right? You don't get the compact. You're supposed to remain generally eligible before continue for the do okay, and they assess, and then can reconsider like all contracts, all grants, by the way. All grants, I've been run an organization where they give grants. All grants get clauses then the way they say if you do certain thing, if you take the money, if you do this, we reserve the right for pull-up. So from that perspective, they generally the other three family for example, God forbid, somebody decides say tomorrow they take gun, they can overthrow the government. Then the compact will go. If we decide say tomorrow we go back on with democratic gains they don't make, we get arrest journalists and 50 factor lock people in a cell. But on every single one of them mention them, we actually they make progress as a country. So take for example on freedom of information, we pass data protection law, we cancel freedom of information from a commission to an authority for strengthening protections. So when they look at all lengthening, you look at rule of law, the rule of law global index come out recently. 2/3 of the world, they either in decline or stagnant. Sierra Leone are one of 8 countries on the continent we make progress. So on the result itself, it's true say the new indicators don't provide completely new challenges then for we. And I go assure you say, and like the honorable say, we as Sierra Leoneans need for ask ourselves, what we for do for improve on their indicator then. I just mentioned inflation. We're not the first one within at the list. We don't come off 55%. We do 4%. We confident say at the next assessment. With inflation figures, no go be with TV so today. We confident of that. So you take the other thing, for example, on workforce development, the work the way Minister Radwan and team on the do for make sure so we get access to that data, they for supply the World Bank with that data, because keep in mind not to MCC they collect data, they rely on third party for collect that data. We believe say at the next assessment, you know means we'll for improve on every single thing overnight. But the commitment we will get as a government, we President Bill again, I make always a council on a station here say, we improvements in tripartite, in elections, in rule of law, not to for MCC. Now President Bill and the country make that resolve this say, we as a people will continue for go forward. While we go forward, others like the US government go reward we for that by giving we MCC. But whether they reward we without the money they or not, will they continue for go forward? So on all of the measure here, will they continue for do the work for them move forward?
Another area of concern, Mr. Minister, get for do with government effectiveness. We now score or government score 38%. This is an area year after year we concerned on the Komon-Tok form. What in government do they do in relation to this particular rate on government effectiveness?
I'm glad the way you ask about that, because now one of the things and the way in other media interview why don't they put it always. When you talk about government, and I make a glad the way the posture way Honorable Abdul Kargbo they take on this issue, because they take a statesman posture. And I want to make clear to family and say during the time with the MCC compact been in the balance we did conversation with the day after the election, I'll be one of the people that we really step up, and in all the interviews and the feedback we'll get was that he spoke as a statesman, because he really get for hate yourself and hate your country, like I've been saying the last time. For let you see the mobilize, let's Salon get $480 million for improve significantly the country in energy infrastructure. So that now one thing we will go for agree on so we move forward. So on this same question it's about government effectiveness. Government effectiveness they refer to the overall government, civil service, lawyers, how government operates, society government this now years and years of challenges. If you look at we score from 2014 to USA we now on that measure, they again with a grow small. But now exactly because of this idea say government's not effective overall, now I make President Bill in wisdom decide say in Big 5 for include how you will improve the public service, how you will improve the effectiveness of government. And 2 years into the implementation of that Big 5 day, I go assure you say just this year we don't pass big reform them, the public sector policy, public sector laws, things that will not be there in the past, where they can make sure say we streamline how government they operate, we'll make sure say we digitize with services, we'll make sure say we simplify them, we'll make sure say people can get access to things them in a predictable way. All of them say they go improve the effectiveness of how we they govern as a people and how people let the experience and govern. And by the way, government effectiveness includes information, because effectiveness means say people that know say this service here is available to me, I get right for get that service there, and when I go there I will get her in a predictable manner, and we overall way the government they operate. So President Bill don't put that as part of a Big 5, and yes, now one area we still not don't get out of the red yet, but I was sure family and say that's something where the president, public service team, the rest of the leadership, the vice president, the chief minister, they're all working for low continue for making improvements.
Now, apart from government effectiveness, we also see child health very low, 18. We get regulatory quality, 38%, inflation, 28.4. government concerned about this cause about now this
Government
areas?
concerned about everything. Anything we get read, including where we do not get data, we concern. So if not the
One.
framework of the question, yes, we concern. And on each one, we get a plan. You mentioned inflation among that list. I don't already lay the foundation, say on inflation, we don't continue for moving in the right direction. I go assure you, say, in the next week, we will hear about the budget, a very pro-people budget. We present, you don't instruct, say, this budget, it will be about how will they invest in we people them. In the midst of the global challenges and stress we face right now, President Bill don't tell the finance team, say, this budget this year, how they protect our local industry in here, how they make sure, say, the way they make here, we protect her, we expand on that. Then they get for continue for improve and make sure, say, we make that transition. So child help, we ask our mentioner. Because maternal mortality not in this list. But we are one of the best performing countries where campaign reduction of maternal mortality. We all know the long way Boku international awards, recognition, and why. The president begins instruction, the minister of health and in team, and this is across governments to be fair, again, like I say, we not put in place some measure, including the free healthcare, they do, Platina being president, Koma being Standing. But the things they will do, now for make sure say all man we get belly, every woman we get belly, we go for go born or we die eventually. Then they track that death, then track the cause of the death, and then develop an app and a system where they track all the belly woman them and make sure say they go for go get the medical attention where they require. Then they help for reduce them big time. That same formula they will improve overall maternal health numbers. President no instructs the Ministry of Health, and then they work on a big child health initiative. When I don't see the new hospital we don't set up for the first time in this country, specialized care for picking them. All lengthen and they improve the number of doctors who will get, increase the number of health workers who will get, nurses and all that. All lengthen they get for April. So the question we concern, absolutely concerned on any area, any people who die in this country, it break President Bill heart. And as something we invest. I mean, the man believe in human capital development. They spend all the money on education, they spend a lot of money on health. Right. That means he wants for see we continue for improve on the measure.
Continue for the with me inside the program, and then Sharon Obama, Minister of Information and Civic Education, as we inside the program today with a look at the MCC scorecard. We are again with highlight a lot of issues inside with government need for improvement. So.
The program Good Morning Salon they continue. We come to Honorable Abdul Kargbo, leader of the opposition parliament. Honorable, we look at the scorecards them at the MCC. The scores then at MCC scorecard 2026. We see control of corruption, government care 71, government accountability 84, primary education completion rates 97, freedom of information 95, rule of law 60%, and health expenditure 64. We'll look at the pass rate for before we can look at the fail. What's in opposition makeup of them percentage and the areas them we then rank Salon in?
Well, firstly, like wait and see where you they assess picking, you get for do a comparative analysis. How the picking performed last year and how it performed this year. Then you will then a position for see whether you picking the improve or it deteriorate. And not mean say because you picking pass last year, it passed this year. It means say you picking the improve. It can mean say back you picking the improve based on the scores that way it get. You understand? So you, the parent, you get a whole lot of tax for assess the picking. Waiting how it performed last year. Now, like what the minister say, we get a number of new indicators that we they count, where they replace some of the old indicators that you understand. And the indicators that we've been there last year and we did this year, now 15 out of the 22. You understand? 15 indicators. But let's go through them 15 indicators then. Out of them 15 indicators then, government improve per 4. Whether they pass them, they fail them, but there is improvement. So you can look some of the scores them. You can say yes, government still fail this, but government don't improve on them. So if they get hope say in the next coming years, government will do more than what they do. Like for example, inflation. The 2025 and the 2026 inflation percentage improve. the score improve. Not to inflation no more. Even when you go to the trade policy, improve from 45 to 50%. But out of the 15, 9 of the indicators where government perform worse than they performed last year. Where government deteriorate, they improve perform, then perform worse than last year per 9.
Take me to the 9 then.
Okay. The first one where government perform worse per na access to credit. Last year na been 18%. This year na 11 government get. The other one where government perform worse per na property and land rights. Last year na been 45. This assessment last na been 45. This assessment way then do so na 40. Then the other one, even though government pass on back now, women in the economy. Government score this one is less than the one we scored last year. And also employment opportunities. Government scored last year 94. But this year now 82. You see? And also when you go to health expenditure, the last year grade now been 72. This year now 45. It go also to child health. Last year now been 23. This year now 18. You go also to government accountability. Last year now been 74. This year now 71. You go also to the rule of law, where the minister say we improve. We not improve. In the last assessment, now 72% we get. In this assessment, in the last assessment, now 62% we get. In this assessment, now 60% we get. So we not improving, then we pass them, but we not improve. You also go to civil liberty. Last year now be 89. This year now 76. So we get a whole lot, 9 indicators then, where the score where government get, it decrease. Unlike 4, we improve. Then we get 2 where remain the same. Waiting government score last year, then they score this year.
What do you think are the factor responsible for this?
Well, again, it depends on the indicator where then they look at. For example, where they look at health expenditure, it show how government funding, ever the source and from the external donors, how government local revenue and grants and aid where then they get from external donors, how then they use them, and how much government even they get from the GDP where then they invest into the health. And that assessment they na World Health Organization then they do. Now, interestingly, the Minister of Finance don't plead with government that let it increase the budget on health. You understand? So if we budget on health increase, then they go help a long way for mitigate against the low score, the deteriorating score we get also. Then also we get also a score on child health. Of course, then we fail them for all 2 years then.
Yeah, we can look at the one them we fail, because you look at inflation is 28.4%, and the regulatory quality is 38%, child health now 18%, government effectiveness 38%. This concerning to una position?
Yes, for sure. Why not? Like I say, again, I repeat this statement. MCC, not a political party them in a country. Yeah? I don't give an illustrative example of the threshold where we been win as a country in 2014. We then begin implement 2016. Then close on 2021, March 30th. Also, this compact where the government don't win so now, where we don't qualify for. The true implementation, proper implementation, they begin 2027. And 2027, 2028, we go into elections. So meaning now 5 years implementation period then get. 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, then the closer. So the next government get forget huge period where instead they benefit just like where this government benefit from the threshold. You understand? So like I had say, now that we opposition, we now the country we look at. We want let the issue of electricity be the past. We want let issues the way we get, what we struggle with, let it be the past. Now that make the opposition no go ever say let them not give Salon compact. We will not go ever do that. Because we care about the growth of this country. We care about the development of this country. So if even government want to do anything, we go jeopardize the compact. We say the be pressure group to government for ensuring.
Before I left you, Honorable, whose role the opposition they play for support government in this compact or in the Scorecard?
Definitely with the play role. I tell you, see, MCC not the only deal with the government. MCC also they get to the opposition. Then they interview the opposition. Then they get the candid opinion of the opposition. So we, like I said, the opposition gets enormous role for play. So if the opposition, they call on government, say no, una need for correct this, una need for correct this, una need for correct this. I don't feel say government for take offense. Okay. Government for ensure say they do everything within the limits of their power for ensure say they correct the problems that we will face as a nation. We will unbog this MCC.
Okay. Continue for stay with me inside the program, Honorable Abdul Kargbo, leader of the opposition. We come back to now. We still get the Minister for Information and Civic Education, Chenoba. Now the program will go for this break.
We are the Director of Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Service at the Ministry of Social Welfare, and Sukone don't say for address the mental health issue really lead young people to drug. Make the ministry they develop national mental health and psychosocial support service and emergency strategy. I talked this since our interview Together Democracy after our engagements with the Ministry of Social Welfare gets with a different stakeholder them where they work on mental health issue in the country. And to talk more inside this interview with the reporter Cherno Jalo.
Yes, this we don't get a strategy in this country. Over 5 years ago, we had the mental and psychosocial support, strategy in emergencies, 2019 to 2021. We had UNICEF in support, for help picking them, women them, young people them in emergency situations, for help people provide, mental and support service for them, for ensure that we able to address emotional well-being. The whole emergency happen, humanitarian disasters, what happen in this country, the mental health impact is a lot, So this strategy be done there for help for providing services and day, but not all. So can I see the for how can we review?
Let me go back and watch at the impact of the past documents we are 2019 to 2022. What have been the impact without being able to defend against mental health issues?
If I was to bring the documents, to life from Ebola time, Ebola, mudslide, and other humanitarian disasters wouldn't happen in this country, and the impact on people then. So don't use, elements that inside this document for how people support them, for providing practical support, for addressing emotional well-being. Because just like I say, when emergency happen, traumatic events, people suffer from mental problems, like post-traumatic stress disorder, then they also be affected by a lot of other issues. So the MHPSS strategy, like multi-sectoral strategy, it helps people bring other partners in together for people to support people that were affected by disasters.
Okay, so now somebody will say we're not in any kind of emergency situation. Why now we develop this document here? So is it that people check say something will happen?
If I want to discuss this, we don't begin from today. Now the MHPSS, mental and psychosocial support, we don't need for it for emergency. And of course, if they say we're not in emergency, we're push. Drug and substance abuse, we are in a state of public health emergency. And let me tell you, you don't even need emergency for provide MHPSS support for people then. Emergency, no emergency, people need psychosocial support. So that discussion I know don't begin come up. Some people, they even want more pull emergency side itself. More just say mental and psychosocial support strategy for Sierra Leone. We don't need for it for emergency because people in their service in there.
Because unless you see the feds, because it will not affect this feds.
If I want change the strategy now, we don't need for firefights. We don't need for it for many feds come first. We will go before the feds now and prevent the feds. So I mean, we will all review these documents. All the factors in there will try to put inside.
So who's still running up on this in the process?
If I will begin to go for there for the next 2 days. So we don't come out to the document, we're going to share with the public. Because like you said, the support we, for see how they're able to come forward. And after that, they will try to popularize them around the country.
What is specifically what they expect for the inside the document?
Oh, because we get civil rights organizations now, we get other MDs now. And the new thing that will not be inside this document. This all this document be there. Could not be there. Drug and substance abuse not be there. If I hear somebody don't somebody returning migration, we're in a big issue right now. It not be there. So the ensure say, we make them more inclusive, for ensure say most people who are affected by mental health issues in this country benefit from what we discuss now for the next 2 days.
Talk to this man by English.
where that now the Director of Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Service and the Ministry of Social Welfare and Economy, they explain you reports at Chairman Jalo inside an interview. They also say then they develop now National Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Service and Emergency Strategy as way for address mental health issues in the country. Musa?
Good morning, Salon. They continue with Council Minister for Information and Civic Education. You in one response to everything coming up with the
He mentioned the indicator. I think I just want to remind family of where I start that the data we they use today are data we 2 years old. So importance where they mention say pass out pale go be full before. And when I talk about ruling justly, I say the global data, the index we just come out. We inshallah next one with the dimension another index then we use say the whole world they go be here. And on the MCC scorecard, the family understand the game. And I think if you don't mention it, but I want to remind family in light of the detail that we don't go through, that the assessment, not to an independent assessment on its own, the assessment they look at your performance versus, like I say, how other people are around you, and in the measure we by the income group they perform. Overall, the message was start with. No indicator no they will pass, will fail this year, will be passed last year, will fail this year. It's not possible. None no they add 7 new indicators in different areas, including 2 specific new areas. One they don't get data for, and on all of the one we focus mostly on the business side, on the access to credit side, on the business startup side, as area that we agree with, we will work on together. And I think one survey says the governments, and we all know, for past tense here, for example, startup culture, we need parliament. Parliament need for focus on the regulatory environment, the laws they will need, and all that. This now a country-wide effort. And like I say, we say alone in pass the threshold program, we have been 2014, now President Bill come and do the implementation, we complete them. Because I've been from 2014, they done 2021. The threshold program, now in the MCC, you say, okay, you do patete, but you don't reach it. So it will reduce small money between 20 and 60 million, we go 44 million. Now fix the policy, now continue for improve. The importance for Sweet President Bill come, we take that threshold program, they outperform. They do so well, because some people they get threshold program and they still get compact. But as a country, they reform the don't put in place, they don't continue for the work. Now it makes say we did inside the compact now, we don't come up from 44 million to $480 million. We know the kind of pocket tool with the MCC and the government of Serbia, the US government, and they set up an implementing arm, like I explained to you, and now implementing body they roll out for improve the energy infrastructure in the country. So family for understand that.
Alright, inside the program we'll start for look at messages. This one from Ahmed Sama. I say, Mr. Kargbo, from the opposition perspective, what are some of your recommendations with regards to the new indicators that have been added in order to meet the MCC standards?
This one said the MCC report is a clear indication that we need to work on the area that has been highlighted by improving them in order to meet the proper requirements so that we can receive the said amount, which has been huge debate on the media landscape of Sierra Leone. That now from Mystic Nadwazak.
This one from Frederick Bagi say, Honorable Kargbo, what's your point in this argument for which I see you are so excited to make? Note that it is Sierra Leone that is affected and not your rivals, the SLPP. So please put on a national lens so that we the citizen can understand.
From Ibrahim Sisse on our Facebook page, they say Sierra Leone must stand united when it comes to national interest. Both the government and the opposition should focus on progress, not party pride. Parliament is not a place of dictionary battles or political shutdown. It's where real issues must be addressed for the good of all. Whatever happens to this country won't wear red or green, it will wear the green, white and blue. Let's put Sierra Leone first, because even the loudest party fights don't always help those throwing the punches.
This one from Mohammed Jallo say we always go after MCC and they like instead of listening to the needs of our people. Our leaders seek to please foreign government, not its people. May Allah help us.
This one from Supercaps Foodie. They say, I think the compact scorecard is a sign of lapses on the government's performance. So it shows as a model for government to do more on area of internal weakness and find possible opportunities for Sierra Leone to benefit. Supercaps from Kisi.
The last one I will take because of time from Samuel and Toronka. I say, I like the program this morning, very educative. Thanks to the two guests.
Okay, this you say the government, this Natada CC on Facebook, is the government still needs to improve on many areas, not just to pass the MCC, but also to make sure the citizens' standard of living improves. Then from Natado CC on our Facebook page. Because of time, we will stop the text message, then we encounter with studio guest. Then for response, we start with Honorable Abdul Kargbo.
Yes, of course. Somebody asks, say, waiting will be my recommendations. First, the way you look at economic freedom, we get challenges in about 4 indicators. Then we want access to credit, business startup, and regulatory equality and women in economy. Let's just give some of the recommendations then from the side of the opposition. Yeah, 1, for access to credit, government for ensure say then promote legislation through parliament where will strengthen financial inclusion. That is for reduce the interest rate ceiling, because now when you go to bank, the interest is very, very, very high. You understand? And also for support microfinance institutions them, and for expand the mobile bank services. And also government for ensure say they encourage public-private partnership. You understand? For increase the number of bank branches the more we get, the number of ATMs the more we get around, in every district or so. We make sure they're accessible. Then also we get government get an oversight. We get an oversight as parliament. We for ask government waiting at the percentage of formal farms where then they use for bank credit, and also we track the year on year out improvement. And also for business startup, say we perform very poorly, and government for ensure say we simplify business registration, for reduce the number of permits them, for shorten the process, and for create a one-stop shop. I believe say that is on course, and then government for ensure, because when you want to establish business in a salon, you go under, go take document, you go under, so the bureaucracy it's too plenty. Now that make with the failure indicators then and government for also and then government for enforce existing laws them where they guarantee the right of business, property registration, because we don't see also businesses then they strangulate, na salon, in terms of interference, in terms of this, even regulatory quality we perform for poorly. Government also for ensure say we review regulations, for ensure say we create a regulations the way they attack the red tape them, the burdens them what we get, and we for identify laws and regulations, and like we will say the program short, we get a lot of recommendations there and proposals them. Even women in the economy, we for ensure say we get legal reform for address discriminatory laws them against child marriage, equal citizenship, inheritance and all of them things then they chronic disease as well. So a lot of recommendations then they will be the opposition ready for suggest to government for ensure say we perform exceptionally well in the next grading of the MCC scorecard.
Thank you very much. I come to the Minister for Information with this one from Tunde Scott. It's the MCC scorecard and the latest World Bank report is a reflection of the reality on the ground. We feel the majority of the MCC indicators, but some of us are really not surprised because of government has failed to deliver in most sectors. I come to you, Chernobyl Minister for Information, for response to some of the messages then, and if government's plans for work with the opposition, some of the recommendations we Honorable Abdul Kargbo don't mention.
So as the Minister of Civic Education, I want let me close in reflection be on the tone and the nature of this conversation and the debate. we disagree. We're on different side. We disagree fiercely. They say even where government change, where they talk about, if APC can appear in 2028, as they talk inside me under me breath, say Astagfirullah. Because we will do everything for make sure say APC not can power. We will deliver for do that. But at the end of the day, every day I get for recognize the fact say Honorable Abdul Kargbo gets as much stake inside this country as I get. He like this country just as much as I do. He happened for choose and then at the wrong party, if I don't kind of the right party. But we can get that debate today without we no cause, without we no affect each other, and everybody benefits from that. We don't need for throw big names at each other, but we can move this country go before. For me, I want to tell Radio Democracy thank you for the public civic role that they play, for create a platform for dialogue, for debate, for let we do public education. I think since anybody will listen, all learn a lot about MCC, about threshold, about the compact, about what it mean, and the scorecard. And then they don't advance the debates. And then they me interested in, and they call on we where they public spaces where they come forward for say, let we talk about how we will improve this country, and then they will get for doing our civic festival. And that spirit's there for commend the Honorable for, and the rest of the team will abide by that spirit there, because at the end of the day, we need the idea, then need we for they in government, then remain in opposition, then they continue for good idea will they implement, which we on good one they will get for move the country.
Thank you very much, Minister for Information and Civic Education, Chernoba, for joining us at the edition of the program, and also thank you to Honorable Abdul Kargbo, Leader of the Opposition. Today will be the look at the MCC scorecard for FY 2026 and the way forward. Now, this edition of the program, good morning, Salongo Lefi for today, Usman.
Plenty thank you to producer Michael Sambula, who produced the program with support from Mange Mansari and Adeyebin Jackson. Plenty thank you to DJ Keman for technical support. America Mabango and Mekona see you live on Facebook. So to meet another time for another edition. My name is Usman Kamaro. Wonderful day.
Musa Kamara, bye bye.